Hi, Simon, and welcome to the show.
Thanks, Andrea. Great to speak to you this morning.
Your company is called MyMusicSuccess.com. Could you start by introducing the business, how the idea came about, and what is the main purpose of the site?
Sure. Yeah. Well, MyMusicSuccess.com is a music promotion, publicity, and artist development company. We've been running about 8 or 9 months now. We started back in May 2009. Basically, there was an area of the new music industry that we felt was missing, really. Myself and my business partner Katie Jacks, she is in the band Candy Stand with me. We have an electronic music band called Candy Stand, and we've been operating for 5 years. And we basically were in the whole realms of the digital revolution when it started up way back in the days of CD Baby, and when Derek Sivers got everything off the ground and started revolutionizing digital distribution. And in the last 5 years, since 2004, we really went through the whole digital revolution and learned a lot about what it takes to be an artist in the new music industry, and how to get results with promoting yourself. Sure. Because we were very successful at it, we actually decided to try and help other artists too, because we had a lot of people asking us, how did you get, chart positions? How did you do this? How did you do that? How did you get some good PR? So it sort of formed itself, really. My Music Success formed out of that. I go back a long way back into the 80s with the music industry. But it really formed out of our work as artists, and actually taking action and doing the stuff that we do now for other artists. So that was really the formula of how My Music Success started. Yeah,
and the company, from what I've seen browsing around the site, has two sides. On one side, you have a subscription service that grants the artists access to information on the site. And on the other side, you have a one-stop shop for them to purchase individual services, such as PR, radio promotion, and, for example, Japanese promotion as well. Starting out with the subscription service, what does it consist of, and what does the artist get out of it, basically?
Sure. Basically, what we wanted to set up on My Music Success was twofold. One of the key things that was missing, really, from the current music industry is that because less and less labels are now investing in artists, there's no real artist development where they get access to the right sort of people to speak to, the experts in the industry. And that not only goes for consulting for marketing and PR and publicity, but it also goes for personal development. If you get a record deal in a traditional sense, you'd have a mentor, a coach, somebody who would tell you the right direction to take, somebody who would give you that physical confidence to actually keep going in this industry, because it is a tough industry. So we saw that was missing, and because we have so much passion, energy, and confidence, and we wanted to really impart that over to artists themselves as well. So we set up on our subscription service a personal self-development program, which actually launched just recently, which teaches people how to set their goals, how to get on the path to success, how to think right, how to approach people, how to deal with fans, how to have relationships, because we're in a digital age now where we all sit behind computers and send our tracks up into the ether through iTunes and stuff. But you still have to connect physically with people, whether you're going out to trade shows or whether you're calling up people, whether it be a distributor and stuff. So all this digital revolution is absolutely fantastic, but what's missing is that human element, and we're moving away from the human element. So what we wanted to do is empower people to have the right way of thinking, develop their confidence, and really grow as a person. So people like Madonna will work out every day for 4 hours. You've got people like Tina Turner, who has to keep physically fit even at 70 years old to go out there and rock the stage, which she still does. So, people like George Michael in the music industry have previously experienced lots of attacks from the media, from their peers and stuff, and they've had to overcome difficult things with the record industry and stuff. And it takes a lot personally to keep going in the music industry with that. So we wanted to really empower people and teach them the ways to think that will get them through that. And our philosophies are our My Music Success that you can do it, whatever background you come from. You just need the right people to support you around you, and that's what we tend trying to do with the subscription service. The other thing that's missing also is contacts. People need to, it's not necessarily what you know, it's who you know too. So we've built up a lot of contacts over the last sort of 5, 10, 15 years. And we're building a good database on our system of the right contacts. So there's a fully searchable database on the site that you can find contacts to send your information to. And a lot of these are our personal contacts. They're not,
Sure.
just a list of people. They're actually our personal contacts we know, and that people do accept submissions. So there's a great database of information there. And lastly, for now, anyway, we also have a forum, because sometimes you just want somebody to bounce ideas off of.
Yeah.
And we've set up an artist development forum. People can ask us questions on there. They can contact me directly, and I can give them a question directly back and answer directly back. Because with over 25 years of industry knowledge, it's great to be able to impart that to independent artists back. And people will have questions like, how do I clear a sample? What's publishing all about? And that sort of stuff. And what we do is when we get discussions coming up about that on the forum, we can develop that into articles, put it onto the main site,
Sure.
and then help many, many more artists learn about the new music industry, because it is a learning process. So that's the subscription side, really.
Sure. And the digital marketplace has brought a myriad of possibilities for artists, and everybody can put out a song on iTunes or try and get it distributed on various services and mobile services. But it's becoming harder and harder to stand out from the mass without the support of a traditional label-like service. So basically, where you're placing yourself is giving the artist some of the services that the label would be able to give, but without the same contractual obligations. Basically, is that
absolutely?
So, yeah.
That's absolutely true. And I think the key thing, which is coming up quite soon on the site too, is that when you have a label behind you, they have a sales team that you never see. You never see the people behind the scenes and how it's all done. And I think the key thing is, you're right when you mention it's easy to get now stuff onto iTunes, onto Amazon, all the digital distributors. But what's key is that people forget that when you hand your rights over to a record label, they don't just put them in the store, sit back and let people come by and browse. They actually go out there and actually sell your record. And another key thing that's missing is independent artists will have to have the ability to sell. Now, obviously, within the creative industries, that's quite a difficult mix, because people don't like to sell to people. But it's not like going out hard selling, double glazing to people, knocking on doors. Although knocking on doors is what you'll have to do.
Yeah.
But it's more of a creative way of selling. But you have to sell. People won't come and buy your record. Because there's, as you say, there's too much noise, there's too much out there. You have to go out and sell it to them, but sell it to them in the right way. Where the techniques for selling really are very much, one-to-one communication and developing and finding out what the fan is interested in, and finding out a lot about the fan as a person. And social networks are good for that, because you can connect to fans through many social networks now, not only things like Reverb Nation, Facebook, and MySpace, of course. But if you do a one-to-one connection with fans, you'll find your sales would increase. And there's lots and lots of techniques you can use to sell your record. But if you're not selling your record, at the end of the day, that's you're not going to survive as an independent artist, because you have to have income.
Sure.
So it's all about selling the record rather than expecting people to buy.
Yeah, definitely.
So.
Sure. So quite important for your company is the recent partnership with XL Tracks for advertising on your network. Could you tell us a little bit about what XL Tracks is and how the partnership works between them and you?
Yeah, sure. XLTracks.com, it's one of the leading online broadcasters that we linked up to in June 2009. They broadcast from their bases in Canada, in fact, and it's amazing that we now link up globally thanks to the digital revolution.
Sure.
XL Tracks basically are a sort of a hybrid between standard FM radio and online radio, simply because they have live DJs in the mix alongside their programming. One of the great things about their station is that they have 6 different channels to cover a lot of genres. They have dance, mainstream top 40, country, indie, even classical. So they have a wide range of music, and the live DJs really bring a new element to the whole mix. They also broadcast in Second Life, in fact, as well. They do a lot of events in Second Life as well. So they're encapsulating the FM revolution, the online revolution of radio. And what we do, we've linked up with them. One of the key things about radio is that although getting online radio play is great, it's not necessarily an interactive medium. People will listen to it, but it's not going into their psyche as to who they're necessarily listening to, and where they can particularly get hold of those tracks. It's very passive online radio. So what we actually developed with them was a promotion package for artists that encapsulated some banners in their player that comes up, and also an online radio ad as well that actually tells the listener, okay, this is the artist that's coming up, this is the track, and in fact, this is their website, or you can get it from iTunes.
Sure.
So what we did is we developed a package where artists could actually advertise on the radio and promote their track in a way that if people are listening to the radio, it's like, bing, okay, what was that track? And we tell them. They listen to the track. It's great. They've got the banner in the banner player. So if they like it, they can actually click through and buy that track. And for independent artists, that's a lot more powerful than just switching on the radio and passively listening to it and thinking, I like that track. I wonder what it was. I'll find out later. Someone else comes along and that's it. Their attention span's gone. What we tried to do with linking up with XL Tracks Radio is try to get independent bands added value for radio play. Rather than just the standard, I'm in the middle of 400 bands and, I'm on the radio. That's fantastic and it's good to have radio play. But, at the end of the day, you've got to do just that little bit extra to try and stand out with radio.
Yeah. And no, that's a really interesting take on it. And one of the things that interested me in the premium services that you offer on the site is the Japanese promotion service. And this is a market that always interested me, as I don't really know much about it, especially on the digital side of things, as it's so much different from what's going on here in Europe and in the States. How did you develop an interest in that particular segment of international promotions? And what is different about Japan in terms of digital releases and sales?
Sure. Well, Japan, it's the second biggest music market. But one of the key things that stops Western acts getting into that second biggest music market is simply the fact that 89% of the Japanese population, the consumers that actually go out and buy, downloads and stuff, they don't speak English. Yeah. It's as simple as that. They only speak Japanese. If you present an English page to 89% of Japanese consumers, they will just switch off. So, you're missing out on 89% of a massive market here. In Japan, it is very different. They're very technology based, so they're open to downloading. Morally, they also, interestingly, have a very high moral code. So, in fact, they're one of the biggest consumers of legal MP3s too. If file sharing for them is seen as something that's morally wrong, and in the Japanese culture, they're actually happy to pay money for downloads. So it's really important to be in the Japanese market. A lot of the consumers will download their tracks through phones. The web is a big part of Japan, of course. But the Japanese market, people don't necessarily listen to radio because they travel on on the metros to work. So there's less cars because of the overcrowding in Japan. So they don't switch on their radio in the car. They do get a lot of print media in Japan. That can generally be expensive. So, but yet technologically, with Tokyo being the center of technology in that area, Japan is all about getting your tracks off mobile phones and getting your tracks off the web. One of the key things is we partnered up with a company called Top Music in Japan, and they have a massive portal for artists, and we basically linked up with them. And organised something that they didn't have, which was friendly URLs, because it's important if you have a Japanese web presence or on the mobile to have a really good URL. So we have a service where we offer artists a domain on our MyMusicSuccess service. MyMusicSuccess in Japan means awesome music. So we have a service that we can add artists to on that, and they can get a presence in Japan with a fully translated Japanese webpage. They get a Japanese press kit, and they also can promote their iTunes. They can promote their iTunes and Amazon downloads to Japan, all in Japanese. So it's really key to have that, Japanese language presence in Japan. And again, we wanted to try and keep it cost effective because it can be very expensive for print advertising in Japan.
Sure.
So doing it online and doing it on the mobile is capturing the majority of the people in Japan in their own language on technology that they're absolutely familiar with. So
sure. Cool. Well, changing the subject a little bit, I wanted to ask a few of the people that I'm going to speak to in the run-up before MIDEM in January. Since you're taking part in the event, what do you think about the music industry gatherings such as MIDEM? And are they still the place to go and make things happen for companies such as yours, for example?
I think MIDEM and all the other industry conferences, it's very difficult for independent artists to access these resources, mainly because of the cost. I mean, MIDEM's in Europe. It precludes a lot of American and US and Australian and attendees simply because of the enormous costs to actually get there. PopCom was another big festival that in fact got cancelled last year because of low attendances. We attended back in 2008. They all do have their benefits. I mean, there's some great panels that are coming up at MIDEM. There's some great panels at PopCom a couple of years ago, and I know PopCom's coming back this year. It is essential, I would say, for an artist to at least once attend one of these events if they can, because it really gets you into the middle of the biggest music market. For us as a company, it's important for us to go out there and obviously spread the word about our services. But what we've done this year is we've also tried to take a number of artists as well and represent them there and try and really shop them about to some of the labels. So we were actually representing ABM from Platinum Trini Entertainment and Audio Sanity from Germany. So that there's a whole different area that we'll be doing at MIDEM this year. I think there's a big value in going out to trade shows, but as an independent artist, you have to look at your costs and think, what am I going to get out of this as a return? If you go there and you educate yourself from all the forums, that's great. But I don't think that independent artists themselves directly can go there expecting to maybe do record deals and stuff. You still need some sort of an intermediary to do that. But I would recommend at least once to go to a trade show because you really get the buzz once you're there. So. Sure.
And finally, to finish off, I wanted to ask you, for your company going forward, I mean, you kind of, at the moment, you're splitting yourself between traditional media like PR writing and PR distribution online and the digital distribution of music. Where do you see yourself going? Do you see yourself carrying on both roads, basically, or do you think you're going to focus more on the digital side of promotion?
Mm-hmm. Well, really, the PR and publicity side, I mean, that was really set up to provide cost-effective promotion to independent artists. I mean, one of the main things about that particular side was that a lot of independent artists were going to PR and marketing companies and saying, the marketing company wanted $1,000 budget or a $2,000 budget before they'd even speak to you. So, I mean, that side of things was set up as what we call a pizza menu, where you can come in, you know what you're going to pay, and you can pick off just the bits you want and compile that to your own campaign and know what you're paying. So, the budget's fixed. Sure. So I think that will continue, and we'll continue to look for innovative services that offer value to independent artists at the right price, at a fixed price, so they know what they're paying. We'll continue to add those services and add value to that.
Sure.
One of the key things that we want to develop next year, though, is we actually want to take our music success mindset, the self-development side of things, out on the road. We are planning events in Canada, USA, Europe, UK, to actually go out and actually reach more people and take it offline. So, you'll have the support online, etc. But we really want to go out on the road and meet lots of independent musicians and be able to help them on a one-to-one basis. So we'll be looking to set up live seminars around the globe
cool.
next year. So that's our biggest focus for 2010, really.
Cool. Well, great. Well, thank you very much for coming onto the show. And anybody that's interested in the site can go on to www.MyMusicSuccess.com, or they can probably find you at Meedham in January.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes, if you're at Midham, then do hook up. I'm sure we can share an overpriced Belgian beer.
Cool. Well, thank you very much.